The kit is used for the determination of hemoglobin A1 in whole blood. The kit includes 1 bottle of reagent 1 for hemolyzing the sample, 2 bottles of lyophilized calibrator, 40 test tubes with resin, 40 filter tubes for the recovery of the HbA1 fraction, and IFU. The calibrator is whole blood in lyophilized form with a known value of hemoglobin A1 and should be reconstituted with 0.5 milliliters of distilled water. I pipette 0.5 milliliters of distilled water into the bottle. I put the cap back on, invert to mix, and wait for 10 minutes. The calibrator remains stable for 2 weeks at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. If all 40 tests won't be performed within the next 2 weeks, it is necessary to aliquot the calibrator and freeze it. The sample used in the analysis is whole blood collected in EDTA. I place the tube containing the whole blood sample on the rack, followed by 2 empty tubes labeled Sample 1 and Cal for calibrator. In the Sample 1 tube, I pipette 100 microliters of sample and 0.5 milliliters of reagent 1, then place it on the rack, obtaining the sample hemolysate. In the calibrator tube, I pipette 100 microliters of calibrator and 0.5 milliliters of reagent 1, then place it on the rack, obtaining the calibrator hemolysate. I cap the tubes, invert to mix, and wait for 10 minutes before using the hemolysates. I proceed with the separation of glycated hemoglobin. I take 2 tubes containing resin from the box, labeling them as Sample 1 for Sample 1 and Cal for calibrator, then place them on the rack. If we have multiple samples, we will use 1 tube per sample. I use the pipette to take 100 microliters of sample hemolysate and pipette it into the Sample 1 resin tube. I use the pipette to take 100 microliters of calibrator hemolysate and pipette it into the calibrator resin tube. I take 2 filter tubes from the box and place them in the 2 resin tubes, about 2 centimeters from the liquid. I shake the tubes, then fix them on the rotor for 5 minutes. I let the resin settle for about 1 minute and then push the filter to press it. At this point, I have obtained the glycated hemoglobin. I place 2 tubes labeled Total Sample 1 and Total Cal for total calibrator on the rack. I take 20 microliters of Sample 1 hemolysate and pipette it into the Total Sample 1 tube. I take 20 microliters of calibrator hemolyzate and pipette it into the total calibrator tube. I take 5 milliliters of distilled water and pipette it into each tube. I shake the tubes and read them against distilled water within 1 hour.